doing, PA? What's going on?
Good morning, PA.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? I'm doing all right. How you doing, PA?
Yeah, it's silly, man.
To noon.
Big boy's back. Just listen. Just listen. Who got it better than us? Nobody!
Ain't nobody got it better than 9 to noon today, covering more ground than Lewis and Clark when it comes to the sports scene. Good morning. It's the Friday Feast at FM 100.3 KFAN. And let's begin with a Covenant catch-up. Denard Span, TV analyst and a former Twins outfielder, center fielder for the first 5 years of his career. Beloved DSpan is in town and is nice enough to join 9 to noon. What's going on, Denard?
Nothing much, man. How's it going, PA?
What?
Good to hear from you.
Likewise. What brings you to town, my man?
Well, first of all, I love Minnesota, and I love you. That's for starters.
Uh-huh.
Number two is my nonprofit that I have called the Denard Span Foundation. We have a foundation charity event every winter, and one of the packages or one of the bidding items was a trip up to Minnesota with me to go to a Twins game and take them behind the scenes, meet some of the players, get autographs. And so I'm up here with a family from back home in Florida, and we're just enjoying the Minnesota lifestyle. Right now I'm renting a house on the lake, and the kids are, just going crazy. They were swimming in the lake last night. So that's, oh, my gosh, you can hear I'm outside.
Oh, that's
and
great.
The wind is my plate of food just blew over with the gust of wind coming off the lake. But, yeah, I'm in town, for the weekend for that.
Denard Span, that's beautiful. And thanks for the work with the foundation. And you're going to get fantastic Minnesota weather this weekend. Not too hot, certainly not too chill. Great time to be on a lake. And which game are you going to? Are you going to see JoJo tonight? Or because the Cardinals are in town. Which one are you going to?
We will be there tonight and tomorrow and Saturday.
Mm-hmm. And you get to see the Twins, a team that you'll analyze on TV every so often, with the analysis and working with Corey Provis, and Corey's fantastic. What a wonderful human being. Yep, great guy, great play-by-play guy. How do you like that job? You feel like you're kind of settling into stride?
I feel like I'm getting better. Obviously, I'm going to do my homework already.
And know that, I got to continue to work at it and get better. But I would say, it's just like any other thing you do in life, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get and the more confidence you get, the better you get. And so I think it's the same thing, just continuing to plug away at it. But, I've developed a love, for the sport of being a baseball analyst.
You missed Minnesota Vikings minicamp with all the veterans by a day. And that's why we started texting earlier in the week when you told me you were coming to town. And that would have been great if you had been there yesterday, man. We got some cool players on the team, but that's okay.
Yeah, definitely sad that I missed out on that opportunity to just see those guys put in that work and just to allow the kids that are here on this trip to see how professional football players get after it, and hopefully next year or sometime in the near future I get that opportunity.
Hey, with your foundation, with the Denard Span Foundation, like what's the long play? Who do you help?
Well, single parent families. I grew up in a single mother household, and for me, that's just where my heart is. I know all of the hard work and the sacrifices that my mom made in order for me to have an opportunity to pursue my dreams, and how challenging that was. And so for me, that's just my God work, that's my life's work, and that's my purpose. And this season of my life is trying to shed more light on those types of families and encourage them, enlighten them. So, we in Tampa, public transportation is not great. The city's spread out. And so, obviously outside of, having a house, the next most important essential or necessity is reliable transportation. And so our program, that's what we help a lot of, these families that struggle to afford a car. We come alongside of them and help, just provide stability for them and their families.
Oh, that's spectacular, man. Thank you very much for doing that. And,
thank you.
We have training camp coming up in 6 weeks. Vikings are going to be at Tampa Bay this year, so we probably could work something around that. But if we had seen you,
I got to be there. I got to be there.
It's September 27th. It's Vikings at Buccaneers, September 27th. So yeah, you'll be there.
Okay.
We'll work on some pregame tricks for you too, if you know what I mean. Well, if you had stopped by minicamp yesterday and changed the flight and everything, you probably could have left with a Kyler Murray jersey, given you guys are about the same size.
I always love that one.
First of all, how tall is he before you start?
He's 5'10".
Come on, bro. I'm 5'11 and a half.
I know.
6 foot. So give me a little bit more credit, but you know what? He's a heck of an athlete. I tell you that. I don't know how is he looking in training camp so far?
Well, with the mini camp and the organized team activities and him being new, and you got J.J. McCarthy who started 10 last year. You got Carson Wentz who started a bunch during his career. He was here last year. The interesting thing with Kyler Murray is that learning the playbook, which can be quite difficult, is very much a work in progress. And I'd make him favored to start the first game against Green Bay, but he's not that big of a favorite to start that game, but he is a heck of an athlete, man. Holy cow. When something breaks down and he gets out there and runs, I know he's not as tall or really as
the ability
as
my pick in the play.
Whoa, holy cow. It's just natural with him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So he definitely still has the speed and athleticism.
Ooh.
You bring in a guy like him, obviously he hasn't performed over his last couple of years. He's had injuries, but when he's healthy and when he's playing at a high level, in his heyday, I don't say heyday, but when he was performing at high level, you got to put him top 8 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
When he was performing well?
There were times. The thing with him is he'd go from 8 to 22 to 11 to 24, and then he'd be 4. 3 weeks. It's, wow, you're the 4th best quarter. You know what I'm saying? So it's
the consistency.
He's in a good situation here. Hey, how's Annie, as in Minnesota Hockey Immortality, Annie Schlepper, your wife?
She is doing incredible. She's, of course, always happy to be back home in Minnesota. She's holding the fort down as usual. I'm blessed to be her husband, and I get reminded of that every time I come to Minnesota.
Yeah,
this is she's more important, or she's more of a big deal in Minnesota than I am, and I love it. She's just a beautiful person inside and out.
So she must be sitting right next to you, right?
She's not, actually. I would say that. I say that all the time, man.
Yeah, it's
I've learned.
I'm her husband, not vice versa. She's more prominent and famous in the state than I ever will be. Then we hear off to the side, "Hey, Annie, can you pick up that food that blew over?"
Yeah.
What your son? You have one son, right?
No, I have two. I have 2 sons and a daughter.
Oh, geez. So, is your oldest son about 10?
He is 8 going on. He'll be 9 in 3-4 months, so he's almost 9.
All right. What sports does he enjoy, and what sports do you get your kids into?
So we're right now we're all about flag football, baseball, and I would say baseball first, flag football close second, and then they play basketball. It's a distant third for both of my boys.
The and you mentioned flag football. The Minnesota Vikings and the ownership group, the Will family, man, they pumped $2 million into girls flag football over the last couple of years, trying to get it to be varsity at the high school level. and then eventually give them like a pathway when they get to college to like have a flag football league at the Division 1, 2, and 3 level. Man, that's pretty cool, huh?
It's very cool. I know back home in Florida, if I'm being honest, I'd rather watch the girls play than the boys. Just something about, their grit and the way they, just play the game. They got so much passion. They're really good athletes. They can catch, they can juke. I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely a path for, flag football for girls. It'd be nice to see if they could, develop that into, like you said, some college scholarships or, even like a professional league. That'd be cool.
All right. So, I mean, with your daughter, maybe girls flag football. You mentioned flag football and you said baseball, of course. What about Annie, though? What's the youth hockey scene like down Tampa St. Pete way?
You know what? Youth hockey has developed a lot more than it was when I was a child. The emergence of the Lightning, they've been good, for this generation, I guess you can say, a fan. And so, believe it or not, it's actually, it's actually pretty prominent as far as the hockey scene. But where we live in Tampa, there's just no convenient ice. And so that's where, Annie has struggled. First of all, I told him, I said, look, hockey, that's on you. I'm a fish out of water, when it comes to that. So whatever the kids do with hockey, that's going to be on you. Mm-hmm. But it just has been a struggle, for us to consistently, that like the nearest ice from where we live is like a 40-minute drive.
Oh, geez.
And so it just isn't convenient, for them to play or to skate consistently enough. So I can count on one hand how many times my kids have put on ice skates.
Well, I mean, if she starts pushing that and 2 of the 3 get into hockey, I'd
be all for it.
You're like, all right, Annie, that's all on you. Until it comes to getting up at 4:30 in the morning for that 5:30 skate. That's the only time you can get a rink, and you got to drive 40 minutes. So keep that in mind. Okay?
Now that part, I would be all in as far as helping with the training and helping with the mental aspect of it. But when it comes to getting on skates and coaching and teaching them the game, I would be lost. But then if my kids really took a love to it, then it would force me as a dad and as a parent to, start watching more hockey and learn more about it, which I know that's what I would do in order to be that sounding board and helping them. But I think the beginning stages, I think that's probably going to be more her.
It's a Covenant catch-up here, a Love Covenant catch-up with one of our all-time favorites, Denard Span, who's in town with the Denard Span Foundation, going to a couple of Twins games this weekend at a lake right now with said group and his family, and we got a few here to close for DSpan. Are you a Baker Mayfield guy?
You know what? He's grown on me over the last couple of years. Now he's been with the Bucs. Before, like when the Bucs first signed him, if I'm being honest, I wasn't overly thrilled. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that I didn't like it. It wasn't, I just was like, kind of seen, the things that, or just how his career had brought him to Tampa, and it just wasn't, I just wasn't thrilled about it. But he's one of those guys that, first of all, I think he's matured more so than, how he was when he came into the league, when he was with the Browns. He bounced around, and so now I think him landing with the Bucs it's at the right time of his life, right time of his career. He's settled down. He's married. This is his 4th opportunity, and I think when he came to the Bucs, he realized this was probably his last opportunity to start, and he's done nothing but take advantage of it. And so for me, like when you watch him play, for everything he lacks in size or arm strength, he makes up with it with preparation, and where he makes up with the way how hard he plays, his grit. And so I love him. I love him as a quarterback. He's not, top 5, but he's right outside that category, top 10 or whatever. He's going to give you an opportunity to win. Has he done it in the big games yet? He hasn't done it yet, but I mean, it's hard, it's hard to find a top 5 quarterback. There's only 5 of those guys, and the rest of the league, they're searching for, a guy like a Baker Mayfield.
All right, Denard, baseball to close. The American League Central. I mean, nobody's running away with it. Scooble's hurt. Cleveland's up and down. I mean, Bobby Witt got hurt, and he's kind of up and down. Then you got the Twins. I mean, it's a wide open division, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it almost is just about every year, but like you said, with all of the reasons that you just named with all the injuries, I mean, yeah, it's up for grabs. And I mean, if you're any team in the Central, you're just hoping that, somebody can get hot or the group can get hot and go on a little bit of a run. But more than likely, it's looking like, this thing, it could potentially go down to the wire. So even if you have a record that's below 500, you're still within 6 or 7 games of being in first place, which is nothing.
Right. Do you still consult with the Rays front office, or is that all done?
That is all done.
All right. Well, that was pretty cool when you did that, man, because I wasn't sure if you were with the Rays or not, like last year and part of this year. So I follow them a little bit and I think about you, and they got McClanahan going tonight. So you got Rasmussen and McClanahan, then you got Yandy, Caminero, and Aranda. I mean, that, and Chandler Simpson. I mean, that's a decent little squad down there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they always do a good job at, putting together like just a quality ball club, and they're not all household names, but just the way they complement each other and the way they buy into their role into the system, and it's almost like a selfless mindset that they have developed over there in Tampa. And yeah, they're a fun ball club. They have a little bit of everything. They obviously, their DNA is pitching and playing good defense, but they have a lot of guys in that lineup that you just named offensively as well that handle the bat, hit for average, they hit for power, situationally. So they're about as complete of a team in the American League for sure.
My man, welcome back to your second home. Love you very much, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks for contacting me this week. Be safe all weekend, and we'll stay in touch for sure. But
yes.
I can't wait to see you in 3.5 months at Raymond James, okay?
Yes, sir. Always, hey, man, it's much love. Always good to catch up with you.
Likewise.
My best to you and your family.
See you, Denard. Bye-bye. Denard Span, former Twins center fielder, analyzes Twins games with Corey Provis on television. That's a Covenant catch-up with DSpan. And I told you, we're covering more ground than Lewis and Clark today from a big spot sporting standpoint. Begin with DSpan on baseball. Around the corner, former NBA champion Trent Tucker on the NBA Finals. After that, Alec Lewis from The Athletic as Vikings minicamp has come to a conclusion. And in the final hour at about 11:20, former Wild coach Bruce Boudreau on the Stanley Cup final. Carolina puts a fat L on Vegas last night, and it's a capital L too. William Karlsson got hurt, probably won't play the rest of the series. Coach Bruce Boudreau at about 11:20, part of the TimberTech What's on Deck set list. And that's it, 9 to noon with Double T joining us around the corner. Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Welcome to the Friday Feast at FM 100.3 KFAN.
9 to noon.
5.7 left. No timeouts remaining. Ananobi has handed the ball. Finds Brunson in midcourt. Launches a straight on three. Missed it short. Tip by Ananobi. He put it in. Ananobi put it in. The Knicks take the lead with 1.2 to go. Ananobi out of nowhere. Bridges on Vassell. Hard on Castle. Robinson on Wembanyama. Pass toward the middle. Blocked by Castle. Dropped by Castle. His shot is blocked by Hart. And the New York Knicks just pulled off the biggest comeback win in NBA Finals history. From down 29, they take a 3-1 series lead, stunning the Spurs 107-106.
How about that? Incredible. Devin Vassell after the game said,
I want to win, man. That's all I care about.
Joining us now is basketball immortality, Trent Tucker, also part of In the Zone with Dave Sinekin on Saturdays here at KFAN. Double T, formerly a first-round pick by the New York Knicks in 1982, finished his career with Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls, and lo and behold, won himself a title, and Double T joins now. Trent, Paul Allen, good morning. How are things?
Things are good, man. How are you?
Excellent. Don't know if you saw my text or not, but great job on NBA radio the other day. Man, Antonio Daniels might be your biggest fan.
Oh, really? Thanks a lot. Appreciate that.
The NBA Finals now heads back to San Antonio. The Knicks, they're favored, but they're not prohibitively favored to close this thing out. I definitely think San Antonio has a chance to win and come back and win it. But with Game 5, what led the Spurs to messing up Game 5 and blowing that huge lead?
Well, I think the lack of direction from the coaching staff cost this team game number 5. When you have a 29-point lead and then you have the most unguardable guy in the game, and there's no reason for you to continue to take three-point shots and to play a fast-paced game, because in that situation, the Knicks need two things to have a chance to come back. They need time and possession. And the faster you play and the quicker you shoot, you allow them to have those two things to put themselves in a situation maybe to get back into the game like they did and then win coming down the stretch. So I would put this more on the San Antonio's coaching staff not managing the game the right way to finish the thing off for the San Antonio Spurs. I'm
really glad you said that because, I don't, unless you're in the locker room or you're privy to the information of what goes to things, it's just, there's so much that goes into coaching, specifically in pressure-filled situations, that I'm not the biggest second-guessing guy in the world. But I'm really glad you said that because, you got a ring and, you played for a decade and change. You know exactly what you're talking about. When the Spurs kept hoisting all those threes, and I completely agree with you with letting that thing get out of hand. So Mitch Johnson, their coach, how does a coach get a hold of that when it's happening?
To call a timeout and say, okay, we were hot in the first half of the three-point line. Now, so let's switch up some things that we do offensively and get control of the game once again by going inside now to the big guy. And so we're going to force the Knicks to have to double team and play defense a different way. If they come with the double team, now, Victor, you got your guys you can pick out, for open good looks. And if the Knicks are trying to recover and if they're not on balance defensively, that's going to set up your catch and drive game. So let's put them in a situation where we are taking time off the clock and not giving them those multiple possessions that they need to get back into the game. So I hear a lot of people talk about, the San Antonio Spurs players should have known better. No, when things are going well in one half, players continue to do the same things in the second half. And that's why you have head coaches. Guys make the big bucks, to make these type of decisions to make sure that their team in a critical moment like this don't allow a game to get away from them.
De'Aaron Fox blew it late, didn't he? Trying for that layup and not dribbling around. In the moment, it is such a tough situation, but, he blew it, didn't he?
Yeah. Like you said, in the heat of the moment, but the things that you and I are talking about right now, he should have never been in that situation. This game should have been over well before the Knicks found themselves with a chance to win at the end. 29-point lead. You're controlling the tempo of the game. Now let's just finish off the game the right way. And when you got a 7'5" unguardable individual down low, he's going to put the game away for you. And I know when I played either New York or Chicago, when we got into the last 4 or 5 minutes of a game and we played a certain way over the last 44 minutes, we would turn to Patrick or turn to Michael and say, okay, finish the game off now, take us home, let's get back on the charter and head back to the city.
Boy, OG Anunoby, that's one tough customer right there. He's one of the better two-way guys in the NBA. Gets himself hurt a little bit during the regular season, but what we've seen in the postseason with his size and everything, OG Anunoby is tough, man, isn't he?
He is consistent, Nick. I know Jalen Brunson will get the headlines, but to me, the reason the Knicks have 3 games to 1 is because of him. His consistent play on both ends of the floor, like you mentioned, has been great for the Knicks against the Spurs. And if they had to name an MVP today, he would be my choice.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not comparing him to Scottie Pippen, who's HOF immortality, and you played with Scottie. But, he's the Knicks version of Pippen, right? 3-and-D, can hit threes, that offensive. OG Anunoby, man, he's got a little Scottie Pippen to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is that, he is that glue for that team. You need a guy that can bring multiple things to you at certain times throughout the game. And when the Knicks offense was struggling in game number 4, I mean, he was the most consistent guy offensively, making big basket after big basket, to give his team a chance to get back into the game. So right now, he's playing as well as anybody on the Knicks team, and I know they're very happy to have him at this moment.
Did somebody on OG Anunoby's game-winning tip-in, did somebody blow a block out on that game-winning hoop, or is it just too frenzied? Like schematically, what's supposed to happen?
Well, they went to double team, and all of a sudden, when his man left to go double team Jalen Brunson, he did the right thing. He saw the open space. He knew that they had a man advantage, so he went right to the basket, and he was in a good position to get that rebound for the tap-in and to allow the Knicks to move on to game number 5 with a 3-1 lead. So it wasn't really a blown coverage by anyone. I think San Antonio knew they had, to put as much pressure on Jalen Brunson as they could. But it was just a good read by OG, instinctive, understanding the situation in the moment, knowing that, he had to make a play, and he was able to step up big time for the Knicks in that moment.
Hey, with Knicks guard, make that Spurs guard, Stephon Castle. Elite basketball mind and podcaster Dane Moore was on the radio show the other day, and he drew a Stephon Castle, Jimmy Butler comparison, and I'd never really thought of that. But Stephon is stoic, like Jimmy, doesn't like to shoot the 3 that much, like Jimmy, locks you down, like Jimmy. Castle has some Jimmy Butler to him, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah,
I know.
That's a great comparison.
I know. I hadn't thought of it that way, and he's still so young. Yeah, I can't. Lastly, here on the Spurs, I just can't wrap my mind around or figure out what they do with the 20-year-old Dylan Harper. You played with his father, Ron Harper. His minutes are so sporadic at times. He'll get a fair amount of minutes, but then all of a sudden he's gone for like a long period of time. And when you have veterans like Fox and then Vassell and Castle, maybe it's tough to find his niche at age 20, but he has a chance to be a big timer, doesn't he?
Oh, sure. He's a very talented individual, and he's big, he's strong, he's aggressive. He's one of those guards that he's a handful. I mean, you can cut him off from going from one direction, but he handles the ball so well that he can change direction and go in a different direction. And then he has the strength, to create space to get off his shots, close to the basket. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for San Antonio going forward because they're going to have to make some decisions at their guard position because they're loaded there.
Right.
And you said it right. Dylan Harper, he's going to have to play, and so they may have to, shake up that guard rotation and move somebody out to give him the room that he needs to grow as a player.
Hey, once again, Trent came into the NBA with the New York Knicks back in the early 80s, man, top 10 pick too, like 6 overall. What's it like playing at the Garden when the Knicks are good?
It's second to none. I mean, you can't compare it to anything else. I mean, even though I was in Chicago, won a championship, and that's a great venue and a great town, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. But it's Broadway, and there's New York City is New York City, and I can only imagine right now, the excitement, from the fans and the organization and the players, in this moment. And I'm hoping, that they can find a way, to win one more game. They're going to have 3 chances to win one game, and I know they would like to get this thing done much quicker than later.
Right. So, I mean, do you give the Spurs a puncher's chance to come back and win this thing, or is it like a no chance or a good chance?
Oh, the Spurs have a great chance because they know that they have the personnel to beat this team. Mm-hmm. They have hurt themselves more so in certain situations than the Knicks have done to them. And when you blow a 29-point lead, it's not the opposition, that is forcing you to play bad in certain situations. It's yourself.
Amen.
And I go back to the things you and I talked about at the start of the conversation.
Yep.
Is that the coaching staff from San Antonio mismanaged this game. They cost their team a chance to go back home at 2-2. And we saw the same thing from the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Knicks, up by 22 with 7 minutes to go. And once again, a head coach mismanaged the game coming down the stretch, and the Cavaliers never recovered. But I believe that San Antonio will go back home and have a great chance to win game number 5.
Hey, just to close here, Double T, Trent Tucker, 9 to noon, a former NBA champion with the Chicago Bulls. With Madison Square Garden, like when you guys were good with the Knicks, with Patrick Ewing and all those good players, what stars do you remember coming to your games there in like the early to mid 80s?
You know, all the older guys that you see who have been around for a long time, Larry Davis, Don McEnroe was always there. Mm-hmm. You know, the one guy that I think I got to know well as a big star was Michael Douglas. You know, he and I became pretty good friends over the time when I was playing for the New York Knicks.
Well, that's sweet. I know you're an aficionado of the world of hockey. Did you happen to watch the Stanley Cup game last night?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
You know, it was a heck of a game, man.
Well, I mean,
you know, right now Vegas has their backs against the wall, so they go home to see if they can tie this thing up.
Well, with the Stanley Cup final and the NBA finals, I mean, seriously, these 2 championship series for the last few weeks, they've been fantastic, haven't they?
Oh yeah, must-see TV. You know, you can't take your eyes off of these 2 sports at this stage because, you know, like you said, it's exciting. And you're getting the best of the best. And at this time of the year, that's what the fans want.
You're fantastic. Thank you very much for the time. Have a great weekend, and we'll coven and catch up in the near future, okay?
Happy Father's Day to you.
Yep. Happy Father's Day to you, too, in a week and change. That's a Double T time and time again. We have a Double T on the radio show to discuss basketball. And the New York Knicks are a game from
Wintersville. Sounds better in FM.
And the games resume tomorrow, with NBA Finals tomorrow, and then Stanley Cup Finals continues from Las Vegas on Sunday. 9 to noon, segues to football next segment. Minnesota Vikings 3-day mandatory minicamp has come to a conclusion. Head coach Kevin O'Connell spoke yesterday, giving 9 to noon the opportunity to unfurl some KO cuts. After that, Alec Lewis from The Athletic covers the Vikings for The Athletic and theathletic.com. Former Wild coach Bruce Boudreau, about an hour and a half from now on the Stanley Cup Final. It's 9 to noon. The dulcet tones and multifaceted stylings of Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell.
Let's play hockey!
Shared with the public yesterday, did so through the media. In the business, we call it a post-minicamp press conference, and here they are.
KO cuts! Hey, a non-QB related talker, Caleb Banks. We get an update.
You guys probably saw him working, on the side field yesterday. We've received really, really positive reviews. Had the offseason continued, he probably would have started to get some work in some of the individual drills and then progress him into some of the team stuff. But I will say this, the feedback I'm getting from the coaches, Ryan Nielsen, Flo, Pat Hill, has been, phenomenal as far as his ability to hear information, retain it, and apply it. There's a lot of different ways we can be activating Caleb's brain and the above-the-neck challenge of learning Flo's intricate system. I got it. I know, Justin, you got places to be, but I'm excited. I'm excited about where he's at, and that's not even talking about, the big reason to be excited about Caleb is the physical ability and presence of a guy that big, that strong, that fast, in the middle of your defense.
Man, of the things I'm looking forward to seeing when the pads are on, and in his case, it's health. But just kind of the way that OTAs and minicamp is set up, you don't get to feel the physical nature of what even a healthy Caleb Banks would be able to offer. What about Big Citrus and some of the guys that were drafted? We can notice during drills, hey, that Jake Golday cat? Wow, he's an athlete. Kid can play. But we don't get to really feel it until training camp. So one of the things I'm looking forward to, but sounds like Caleb's progressing nicely. his head's in the game. We just need the foot to follow along with him.
Likewise, I share the same emotion that you just voiced, where I'm really excited to watch him in his uniform and the full armor at training camp, specifically when the Ravens get here for a joint practice or some joint practices. But in the beginning of that KO cut, you heard him talking to Justin Jefferson, where Jefferson went to clomping. And and Kevin's just trying to formulate a thought, and it's not an affront or nothing negative with Justin Jefferson. It plays into from the beginning of the time the media walked in and the players were stretching and getting ready for the practice and everything through the end. I mean, what a hyperactive, fired up group that was yesterday to have minicamp done. And to get 6 weeks of the final mental chill they'll get before training camp. Speaking of the veterans, because they most of them probably are out of town now, and this is valuable time for these young men. Because when they start with training camp in late July, all the way through wherever 2026 takes us, it is a mental and physical grind. So they were hooting and hollering yesterday and just having a funky good time, and it kind of leaked into the beginning of or part of KO's press conference was Justin acting like a kid at a time.
KO cuts. Thank you, Alec Lewis, for asking a non-QB related question. Towards the back end of this thing, here's KO, and Alec was kind of asking, hey, what do you think about the O-line work this spring?
Just how satisfied were you, or have you been with that work?
I think it's been phenomenal. I mean, hopefully you guys in the limited time you've been out have maybe even noticed it. Keith's done a phenomenal job with that group, both in the meeting room and on the field. It feels... every single day feels like there's such a purpose to what they're trying to do. Play style has been a term that we've used many times, over the years, and that is the mentality of what we want to build. Those guys have very, very high expectations of themselves, and Keith is driving that. We got great leaders in the room with BO, CD. I mean, guys that have done it here for a long time. And then Frank Smith's ability to come in and really apply some layers to our offense that have really helped me, helped Wes, helped our staff, and I think our players are excited about the direction that we go. All that means nothing until we put the pads on, but they've done everything to have me really excited about their potential when football comes around.
We have a new stank oven, a new stank oven. Well, what you cooking that thing in? Well, I'm cooking it in the stank oven. Yes! It's not a name, but it's in the same fishbowl. It's just under a different rock. If you listen closely to what Kevin O'Connell just said, he was talking about the offensive line group and when they meet in rooms, and he said, we have a lot of great guys in that room with BO.
That's unbelievable.
That's beautiful. We have a lot of great guys in that room with BO.
I
can't wait to smell that room.
I did double take, and then it's embarrassing because I know Brian O'Neill. It took me a half second to go, oh yeah, he's probably not talking about body odor.
Yeah, we got great guys in that room with BO.
He's talking about our veteran right tackle. I actually, with part of that, just kind of, okay, great work. Again, no pads. It's springtime. Nothing's on the line. Take 6 weeks. Chill. Come back ready to rock for training camp. How well do you know Keith Carter from the stand? Because this is not about me trying to indict or rip Chris Cooper, who now has moved on to the Philadelphia Eagles. But in that vein, I've noticed with several of people that have new, fresh coaching opportunities with this team, I've heard a lot of Frank Smith, get that, new to the mix. Maybe that's part of the conversation with the O-line, tight end group, etc., getting his run game moving. But Keith Carter in particular, getting a chance to coach the line, I've heard his name brought up several times in terms of play style and maybe attitude and organization of what's going on in that room. Is there anything you can tell me about Keith in terms of great opportunity for him and how he's managing the O-line?
Keith is a fiery individual. He's also very deeply rooted in his Christian faith, and I've gotten to know him really on a different level through chapel that we have the night before road games. So I've gotten to know him on that level from an offensive line coach standpoint. when you hear coaches repeatedly saying, well, the offensive line this, and Keith Carter's doing a great job. Offensive line this, and Keith Carter's doing a great job. I'm sure he is. But that over the years, if you were to take phrases like that from all coaches over the last 20 years, some of it is they're preaching to themselves that this is new and it's going to be okay. So it's Keith, I'm sure, is doing a fantastic job, or he wouldn't have the post. Kevin believed in him, a lot before. I think he hired him into last year. The previous assistant offensive line coach went off to Jacksonville, I believe, to become the offensive line coach there.
Was that Rauscher?
No, it was after him.
Oh, okay.
I think he took Rauscher's job.
Remember when Rauscher would mean mug us?
So the A topic with me with the offensive line, because I'm nerdy this way. And when Alec Lewis joins here in 10, 15 minutes, we're going to joke around about final day of minicamp. I watched the entire thing with Alec Lewis and Kevin Seifert from ESPN. I mean, we were just cracking one-liner after one-liner. It was really, really fun. But then when things would slow down, like the nerdery in me would be like, all right, how many offensive linemen? 10. And I'm like, well, I think they need to find a way to keep 9. And then we talk about the running backs room and get down to Xavier Scott, who might end up being one of the better special teams guys they have on this team. Well, then the tight ends room, and what do you do with Bartholomew, who you drafted and he didn't play last year? And is Bredesen going to be listed as a fullback or a tight end? He's currently listed as a fullback, and he's going to make the team. So with the offensive line group, they generally keep 10, and that probably will be the right answer. But with the likes of Ryan Vandemark, Huber, Gerhart maybe, Michael Juergens, and then the Northwestern kid, Caleb Tiernan, like Walter Rouse is in a battle. So they're getting deeper with that facet of the team from an offensive line standpoint. Vandemark moves very well. I wasn't super familiar with him when he played at Buffalo. And like Nordo said earlier, we're without pads, so it's all rubber's going to meet the road here in a month and a half. But as offensive linemen go, Ryan Vandemark, he's quite swift and he moves quite well. So this is a major key to the team here. Feels like they're going to keep 10. If they do, from which spot does that pull? Because this is kind of key.
KO cuts. Now to the QB cuts of sorts. Lots of questions asked. It actually dominated outside of a bit of a hat tip, if you will, to the girls' flag football competition and the champion. I think they had a couple of the girls from the championship winning team there at the podium to start festivities. And then a couple questions at the end. It was all Kyler and JJ, so let's just get after it here.
Excited about both where both those guys are at. Looking forward to them, using the time from now until we report back to continue to kind of build on what they've really accomplished, which is a lot. Both those guys, have done some really, really good things, and I think they're elevating our football team because of it. So excited to get back when we get a chance to get going in training camp.
Okay, I dig that. And they've both done some good things that are going to elevate our football team. Well, let's find out what each of them have done. First, here's KO in terms of what he has seen from Kyler.
He's made a ton of really, really impressive throws. He's layered the football. He's drove it down the field. He's checked the ball down, to avoid sacks and things that are really positive for the position. And we really haven't even really been able to see his true athleticism impact the position either. So I'd say he's improved massively, calling plays and just running the show, and it will only continue to get better as both those guys continue to push to help make our team better.
Okay, first I dig that, and at the end he says both those guys. Oh yeah, we still have J.J. McCarthy on this team, and according to KO, the arrow is pointed up.
I mean, I think it's been physical with his fundamentals and the way he's really tried to apply the different types of throws. He now has the experience, and when you're not talking about hypotheticals anymore, he can learn plays based upon reps. In many ways, he's seeing himself up on the board when either myself or Wes are installing those plays, and then he knows he's worked on a lot of those throws and the rhythm and the timing and the trajectory of those throws. Then he gets to come out and practice them, and then he gets to go into at least the 7-on-7s and compete and try to apply those things. And you guys have probably seen it. I know you're not out here every day, but you guys have seen him, make some of those throws, and it's just been fun to watch him just totally dive in.
You were doing vocal maintenance yesterday, and speaking of reps, I got to get some reps in. And but to that end, there was a lot to make of said reps, because I believe in Kyler's media availability, he mentioned kind of the fact there's a difficulty about, and I forget the phrasing, but effectively learning this offense is kind of tough when you're splitting the reps. And somebody did ask KO about that.
This phase, this time of year, based by the rules and also how we handle it, it is a foundation to build off of, and every rep obviously matters. But this time of year, the beauty of not going full speed on a lot of reps is you can get a lot out of watching other guys' reps as well. So I think that's taken place. I think there's been great learning that's taken place. But those guys both know we have a plan in place to make sure that the decision we make that is going to be about what's best for the Minnesota Vikings, and the timeline of that does involve making sure we get our starter ready to go.
As part of that timeline, PA, just whether you're there doing one-liners with Alec and Seifert, just getting the chance to see it. What do you make of all that? No starter will be named, and we'll spend 6 weeks talking about it. They'll come back. I think he did reference in his presser yesterday, too, that he alluded to the idea that both will play, in reference maybe to some preseason activities as well with the games in front of them there on the schedule. Just what do you make of now that minicamp is done? Where are we at with the quote-unquote competition as you see it?
Well, you can deem it a one-liner, or you can read between the lines. Anybody listening to 9 to noon on KFAN right now and think I'm serious or think I'm joking. But I would watch 4 or 5 Kyler Murray reps. I'd watch 2, 3, or 4 J.J. McCarthy reps, and then Carson Wentz would step in, and I would say to Alec Lewis and Kevin Seifert, all right, boys, watch how it's done.
I always love that one.
And I was messing around mostly, but then Carson would get out there and just, kind of show everybody where the bones are buried.
Yeah.
Yesterday, as my untrained eye goes, wasn't really the greatest 3D quarterback situation from a passing standpoint I've ever seen in my life. But was the final day of minicamp. Kyler still is learning a lot of stuff on the fly. McCarthy still looks, at times from what I've seen, in control, slowing things down, having to stop and figure something out, back in control. And then Big Boy just rolls in there, Carson Wentz, the most veteran of them all, and he's like, all right, here we go. And it just, the passes might be behind somebody, or, maybe they're tipped. Zamaya Vaughn, as minicamp practice goes, holy cow, did that kid have a wonderful day yesterday. But then Wentz would get in there, and it's just like the ball goes where it's supposed to go. Murray made a couple of, what's funny?
You just make it sound like Carson rolls through his rep, and then he just goes back, sits down, opens his lunchbox. He's got ham and cheese with a packet of mayo and mustard. He's all right, back to work, boys.
Yeah, he's got that blue collar approach to him.
I love it.
But he's been here a year and change now, or almost a year.
Yeah.
So he knows. When I say where the bones are buried, that means he knows the nuance, the layering, the patience. He held it a little too long yesterday. You could just tell by the way people were hooting and hollering behind him. But they all did. So I'm very excited to get to training camp so we can start seeing the rubber meet the road on this quarterback situation. Despite the snarky nature of people I follow and will see on social media, the quarterback competition very much is a competition. Kyler Murray is favored to start week 1 against Green Bay, but it's not as big as everybody wants to pretend it is. And Carson Wentz looks really, really good. And so does McCarthy at times. So it's an oxymoron in that it's a good problem.
Yeah.
In that they can pull from different facets of each to get done what they want to get done. But I think if they were to open a vein or be asked the question the right way, I think all the right people would be like, we really, really, really want Kyler to start taking off here. Really want, we can't wait till training camp to see Kyler do some things after minicamp and OTAs, and then playbook memorization over the next 6 weeks. Playbook memorization over the next 6 weeks. And I can't wait to watch Kyler run. Because there hasn't been a lot of that from what I've seen with minicamp and organized team activities. But just like when you watch him warm up and stuff with his stride and knowing how well he can run and how naturally gifted it is, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, you mentioned it's a good problem to have, and you're correct. But to that end, when training camp starts, we need one of those guys to lift off. If it's going to be J.J. McCarthy, I mean, the idea as you're entering a second or third preseason game, and it still is kind of the way you described it in terms of it's good times, bad times. In this spot, it's good times, bad times with this guy. Mm-hmm. We really, really want a guy 7-8 weeks from now to supplant, to separate himself from the pack.
Yeah, but forget the way I described it. I mean, that's the announcer's opinion, and it doesn't count. The KO cut that you played with O'Connell talking about Kyler Murray, that's the first time this entire offseason, on or off the microphone, I've heard him describe things in pointed fashion the way he did about Kyler. We're incredibly happy with him absorbing this, being able to do that. So, you know, he's preaching what's taking place behind the scenes that none of us ever are going to see. That maybe a month ago, getting A to like D was a little problematic. Well, now maybe getting A to L, as the playbook goes, is becoming problematic, but he's getting the rest of it covered. So they also, you know, in these mandatory minicamps, you know, with media and camera and podcasters and the whole thing they're, you know, even when they go 11 on 11, they're not going to show their choice stuff. So there's just so much to be revealed with this conversation. Alec, Kevin, and I talked it out a lot yesterday on the sideline.
That was KO cuts with some QB cuts and some Caleb Banks cuts and some O-line cuts. And next, we're going to have Alec Lewis in studio to continue some of this conversation.
Here he comes, covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic and TheAthletic.com. Also has a podcast called The Alec Lewis Show, and he's going to join us for all of the 10 in studio at FM 100.3 KFAN.
This is 9.